Trapmore gang, yesterday was a crazy day for the Epstein files. There was apparently an announcement from the FBI that they had actually concluded their investigation into Jeffrey Epstein, and the results might shock you or they might not. But before I tell you about that, I want to show you this, because this also happened yesterday, okay? It was an interesting day. It was a day that flooded social media, to be honest with you, and there was probably a lot, if not too much, going on. But the Epstein survivors, 8 of them, actually released a powerful PSA basically ahead of the Super Bowl. And they were basically planning to directly call out the Justice Department, the Attorney General, and they were basically demanding justice, demanding something be done. So I'm showing you this before I'm telling you what happened next, all right? But this was harrowing stuff. Look at this.
After years of being kept apart, we're standing together.
Standing together.
Because this girl deserves the truth.
Because she deserves the truth.
Because we all deserve the truth.
So they said it's the world without exploitation, all right? They want the truth. They were very careful what they said, all right? And the symbolism showed that they've been silenced. They can't even really say what they really wanted to say. I'm not going to lie, it would have been pretty gangster to do a Super Bowl ad and basically pop out and say, yo, this is what happened, this is who did what. But we all love being alive. So, you know, people gave their opinions on this, all right? I don't know. Look, I love being alive too, so I feel like I got to be careful what I say. But look, there was a lot of attention on Bad Bunny's performance rather than this. All right, people are saying now is the time to release all the files. I don't care if there are horrible things inside the files. Justice must be served. Many people are involved with Epstein and many must pay for what they've done. Okay, I wonder. I love being alive too. Okay, I love being alive too. Let's be careful. All right, let's be careful. Let's keep me going for as long as possible. But there is a lot of serious allegations being made. And interestingly enough, okay, this public outcry comes at a time of growing tension, okay, because following the release of the Epstein documents, there's been heavy redactions of potential co-conspirators. A lot of people have been wondering what was missing, what was going on. But, you know, it's been reported. It had already been reported, but now it has been reported officially, okay? The FBI concluded Jeffrey Epstein was not running a sex trafficking ring for powerful men. All right? The files show, apparently that's what the files show. Apparently, I thought, I don't know. Let's see the clip.
The Justice Department under fire tonight, facing criticism for over-redacting information about individuals who may have aided Jeffrey Epstein. In a 2014 email released in the files, a person writes to Epstein, quote, "Thank you for a fun night. Your littlest girl was a little naughty." But the identity of the individual who wrote that message is redacted. And in this image of Epstein's inner circle from the files, we see associates like convicted co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein's assistant Leslie Groff, but several others in the graphic are blacked out. The release files also showed numerous email exchanges that appear to describe the procurement of women. New Brazilian just arrived, sexy and cute, 19 years old. A 2013 email to Epstein reads from someone at a Paris modeling agency. That sender's name, redacted. I found at least 3 very good, young, poor. A 2018 email to Epstein reads, "Meet this one," the person continues. "Not the beauty queen, but we both likes her a lot." This sender's name, also redacted. A DOJ official said in a statement to CNN, any fully redacted names are of victims. In many instances that it has been well documented publicly, those who were originally victims became participants and co-conspirators. We did not redact any names of men, only female victims. Names of law enforcement officers were also among the redactions. Also included in the released Epstein files, a highly controversial draft indictment from the 2000s that would have charged Epstein along with 3 others. They were described as having been employed by Epstein and having conspired to persuade, induce, and entice individuals who had not attained the age of 18 years to engage in prostitution. Their names are redacted.
So you have a Justice Department that's leadership cared more about protecting the men who committed these crimes than the survivors who were victims of the crime.
So it's dark, right? It's very dark. Now, the only thing I'm going to do, and don't come for me, don't fire for me, okay? But the only thing I'm going to do, and not even to defend Epstein, okay? But basically, the one thing that I do think could be the case with this, and I've got to be very careful about what I say, the idea that Jeffrey Epstein wasn't running a trafficking ring for powerful men. Now, there's a lot of things that we've seen in these files that would seem to infer that maybe that's what was going on. All right. But as it says later on in here, okay, and if I'm going to be very, very level-headed, no tinfoil hat about this situation, okay, I'm going to read you this. It says, prosecutors failed to find evidence backing the most sensational claims. Prosecution memos, case summaries, and other documents made public in the department's latest release of Epstein-related records show that FBI agents and federal prosecutors diligently pursued potential co-conspirators. Even seemingly outlandish and incomprehensible claims called into tip lines were examined. Some allegations couldn't be verified, investigators wrote. Now, even me trying to play devil's advocate, and Jeffrey Epstein is certainly the devil who we wouldn't want to advocate for, right? But as it says, you know, Virginia Guthrie Roberts was interviewed and had lawsuits where she claimed Epstein arranged for her to have sexual encounters with numerous men, including Britain's former Prince Andrew. Okay, investigators said they confirmed she had been abused by Epstein, but other parts of her story were problematic. Two other Epstein's victims, who Jeffrey claimed were also lent out to powerful men, told investigators they had no such experience. Now, you could say, if you want to, not even conspiratorial, but you could say maybe they were scared, or maybe that is the case, okay? Maybe Jeffrey was truly lent out to other men. Maybe she was not the only one. It would be ridiculous for me to say that, okay? Jeffrey acknowledged writing a partly fictionalized memoir of her time with Epstein containing descriptions of things that didn't take place. She also offered shifting accounts in interviews with investigators they wrote and had engaged in a continuous stream of public interviews about her allegations, many of which included sensationalized, if not demonstrably inaccurate characterizations of her experiences. Those inaccuracies included false accounts of her interactions with the FBI. So they're saying that, look, there wasn't enough evidence to fully prove that Epstein was running some sort of international whorehouse with minors available to any rich person, okay, that they could possibly go to. And the prosecutors say photos and videos don't implicate others. Now, again, that's very, very, very hard to believe, okay, but it's like the most generous explanation I can offer in this client list. The most generous explanation that I can offer is that he was basically running an trafficking ring for himself. When people are emailing him saying your life is crazy, I can't even talk to people about it. It's like, just because you got all these crazy women and you got minors around you and then other people are coming around to the party and scooping them up, that might not necessarily mean that you are officially running a formalized trafficking ring to make available those minors to those people. Now, look, really, it seems like from what we've seen, that's enough. And that's probably what went on a balance of probabilities, in my opinion. But if they don't have the true full-blown evidence that other people were involved to the degree where it was an organized ring, then I guess they can't do anything. Obviously, yes, a lot of people believe that they're protecting powerful men and it was the powerful men that were involved. I do think secrets like this, they can't be held secret forever. Now, I do think at some point the redacted files will be released. I think somebody, a whistleblower, a WikiLeaks style whistleblower would eventually release the unredacted files, but I do wonder whether, again, that will happen and there won't quite be the smoking gun that everybody's looking for. But interestingly, as of yesterday, it has been made official, apparently, that the FBI have concluded their investigation, okay, and they have said that Jeffrey Epstein was not running an trafficking ring for powerful men. That's what the files show, they say. Okay, that's what the files show. FBI poured over his bank records, his emails. They searched his homes. They spent years interviewing his victims and examining his connections to some of the world's most influential people. But while investigators collected ample proof that he essayed underage Gs, they found scant evidence that the well-connected financier led a trafficking ring serving powerful men. It's hard to believe, and the only generous explanation that I can give of that is that it's like it wasn't formalized to the degree that people want to imagine. He just had all this mad stuff going on around him. Every now and then he had all these famous people in his orbit that sometimes scooped up some of his leftovers. That's a really offensive way of putting it, but it is what it is. And maybe that's why they can't say for sure. It's hard to believe. Photos and videos seized from his homes in New York, Florida, and the Virgin Islands didn't depict victims being abused or implicate anyone else in his crimes, a prosecutor wrote in one 2025 memo. An examination of his financial records, including payments he made to entities linked to influential figures in academia, finance, and global diplomacy, found no connection to criminal activity, said another internal memo in 2019. While one Epstein victim made a highly public claims that he lent her to his rich friends, agents couldn't confirm that and found no other victims telling a similar story. It's unfortunate, right? But it is what it is. If Virginia Giuffre is the only person telling that story and she's unfortunately turned herself into an unreliable witness, there is not really much more to be done. Summarizing the investigation in an email last July, agents said 4 or 5 Epstein accusers claimed other men or women had abused them, but the agents said there wasn't enough evidence to federally charge these individuals, so the cases were referred to local law enforcement. The AP and media organizations are still reviewing millions of pages of documents, many of them previously confidential, that the Justice Department released under the Epstein Files Transparency Act, and it's possible those records contained evidence overlooked by investigators. Is that my Epstein alarm going off? My shut up Epstein alarm going off? Oh dear. So anyway, all right. The documents, which included police records, FBI interview notes, and prosecutor emails, provided the clearest picture to date of the investigation. All right. Authorities decided to close it without additional charges. All right. Dozens of victims came forward. We saw them in the Super Bowl ad. They said that they've been silenced. Right. The investigation began in 2005 when the parents of a 14-year-old girl reported she had been abused at the millionaire's home in Palm Beach, Florida. Police said they would identify 35 girls with similar stories, and he was paying high school age students $200 to $300 to give him sexualized massages. FBI joined the probe. Feds drafted indictments and charged him and some personal assistants who arranged the girls' visits and payments. But instead, then Miami U.S. Attorney Alexander Acosta struck a deal, letting him plead guilty to state charges of soliciting prostitution from an underage G. Sentenced to 18 months in jail, and he was free by mid-2009. A series of Miami Herald stories about the plea prompted New York federal prosecutors to take a fresh look at the accusations. He was arrested in July 2019. 1 month later, he was a pack. He was turned into runts in his jail cell. A year later, prosecutors charged Ghislaine Maxwell, saying she'd recruited several of the victims that sometimes joined the abuse. Convicted in 2021, she's serving 20 years in prison. Okay, I already told you about Virginia Giuffre and the doubts there. But basically, all right, the feds are saying it was just him, didn't happen. Don't worry about it, okay? And this has been posted in Not the Onion. FBI concluded he was not running a trafficking ring for powerful men. This was a day ago. Right? The FBI is still allegedly holding back much of the file, as well as illegally censoring the West. And it's plain as day what's going on, yet the FBI can't seem to figure it out. That's what they're saying. So why is the House asking Bill Clinton to testify if there's nothing wrong? We investigated ourselves, and we did nothing wrong. It's crazy. Then why was he arrested 2 times for trafficking? Why is Ghislaine Maxwell in prison? Why does the GOP have a hold on for grilling the Clintons about it behind the closed doors? And where does Prince Andrew fit into all of this? Oopsie daisy. Okay. There was another post going around, the same thing. Politics, all right. 2019, no link to criminal activity. 2025, nothing incriminating found at his home. I'm scared. I'm scared of the big man. Honestly. I'm actually scared of the big man. It said, and yet many of the survivors publicly stated they were trafficked to powerful men and actually named some of those men. What does the FBI have to say to explain that? All right, the same FBI that's currently covering up the files. Yeah, the ones that said that it didn't exist. I'm scared. This one's interesting, right? It says the files say otherwise. All these random people emailing him, asking about women and asking about going to his island. How's that not trafficking? That French model agent guy, Jean-Luc Brunel, was sent to prison for literally trafficking fashion models. He trafficked them to Jeffrey Epstein. They found records of flights and he flew to Epstein's island 25 times. How can you not say trafficking for other people when other people got arrested for trafficking fashion models to him? And that guy... Jean-Luc Brunel, all right, this scumbag, okay, mini Epstein, all right. He was included in a list of Epstein's 10 co-conspirators. All their names just disappeared, didn't they? Is everybody on this list dead? I don't know. Let's just have a look. Let's just quickly skim. Is this guy alive? He's alive, apparently. He's alive. Okay, he's alive. Okay, some of these fools are alive. Interesting. Okay. But Jean-Luc Brunel, he went into, following Epstein's death in August 2019, he went into hiding shortly thereafter. French National Police investigated him September 2019. His Paris home and offices were searched by investigators as part of a probe into trafficking by Epstein. On 16th of December 2020, he was intercepted by police at Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris. He was about to board a flight to Dakar, Senegal, held in custody in La Santé prison for questioning in regards to RSA, criminal conspiracy and human trafficking. All allegations involving minors. On the 29th of June 2021, Brunel was charged with drugging and R-wording a 17-year-old in the 90s. He said he was innocent. But on the 19th of February 2022, he was found not alive in his jail cell in Lasante prison after hanging himself. He had apparently attempted this several times before his death. Okay, him and Epstein are down there having one hell of a party right now. Okay, having a hell of a party in the cookie tray in hell. So I am just so scared. All right, I've got a couple more topics that I want to do about this tomorrow, okay? Because there's actually one thing that I feel like is crazy that I haven't seen anyone else talking about that I found, and I want to do a whole breakdown into it. It's a little bit crazy. It's actually a little bit crazy. But look, the FBI is saying there's nothing to see here. They've concluded. The investigation's over with. It's concluded. But I don't think this is the last we're going to hear of it, okay? I do feel like maybe there is a chance more information might come out. Whoever's responsible for putting that information out, they ought to be careful. We're going to see what happens, okay? But look, God bless America, okay? I'll find something else to talk about. I'm scared. And this whole thing is literally giving me nightmares. I'm having actual nightmares at night, okay? But you want me to keep covering this, so I'm going to keep doing it. So thank you for watching this video. I will chat to you guys very, very soon. Thank you for today's videos. There was another video that I did today that having some problems on the back end of YouTube. Hopefully I can get that up for you later today. If not, maybe tomorrow, or it might be a members only video if YouTube are not feeling it, because I don't want to cause any problems for the channel. But stay tuned, more videos coming, and I just want to thank you so much for watching all of the research that I've been doing on this, because it's been really interesting for me, even though it is chilling me to my core and giving me nightmares. But anyway, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.